Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Alltalk Watches Twin Peaks, where we watch every episode of Season 3. We are on episode 15. I'm Mr. X, and who else is here?
It's Totoro.
No Kevin this week.
Kevin Kevin went to the Upside Down, wrong show.
He went to the place above the convenience store.
He's obviously one of the woodsmen.
It all makes sense now.
I mean, he did constantly ask us if we had a light.
That was weird.
Too weird.
But we should just get started, I guess.
Yeah, this was, here, like the past couple weeks, I feel like everything has gotten, it's pretty good.
Yeah, they are moving along
Stuff
at a
is
good
happening.
clip. Stuff is definitely happening.
But yeah, So
yeah, the episode starts with Nadine walking with a shovel. And she goes to talk with Ed and says he's free to be with Norma.
Right.
After, like, how many years of marriage?
A bazillion.
At least a bazillion.
I mean, this is one of those. So after Nadine does that, Ed goes to the Double R and it tries to profess his love to Norma that they can be together.
But yeah, Norma's just like, no, I can't. Walter's here.
Yeah, or
sit down.
I don't even know that she says anything to him. But then Walter shows up, and it's kind of like one of those things that everything kind of gets put on hold. So he just sits down, orders a coffee, or Ed sits down, orders a coffee, and just kind of sits there and like closes his eyes and just goes into this zen-like state.
Well, he also ordered a cyanide tablet.
Did he really?
Yeah. I think jokingly, because he had just confessed his love, basically, and it was not reciprocated.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So I missed the cyanide tablet.
Then Walter and Norma have their conversation, and she wants to get bought out of her shares of the franchise.
Yeah, but she wants to keep the original Double R.
Yes. And Walter thinks she's making a huge mistake.
And, fiscally, she might be.
Because those other ones are making money, and she's keeping the only one that's losing money. Because her pies are too good.
Yeah, I don't know that it's losing money, but it's definitely not making as much. Like maybe the margin is a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So
she just needs to increase the price of those pies.
Yeah, just 50 cents a pie. I'm sure that'll help. But so after that, I think Walter's dumbfounded.
Yep. Then he like confused and walks out of the place saying, I think you made a huge mistake, or making a huge mistake.
Yeah, at that point, Norma comes back over to Ed, and Ed asks her to marry him.
I think that is the most biggest fan service-y moment of the show so far.
Absolutely, and it's one of those that I've wanted for I don't know how long.
25 years?
Yeah, basically. It's one of those kind of things that, I think that sometimes you see these stories of the storybook type of relationship where the high school sweethearts get married, right out of high school or whatever, or sometime later. But, all this time later, and they're finally, really, really getting together.
For now, and then the next morning, Nadine's going to wake up not remembering anything that's happened.
Of course, it's just the way it goes in Twin Peaks. We've seen this before.
Yes. Okay, and then cut to some more evil power lines. It just showed some power lines like the show likes to do. And then it was Doppelcooper driving down a dark road.
As he is wont to do.
And then he goes to the convenience store, and then he goes above the convenience store.
So is the convenience store the Dutchman's?
I think so, because that's where they said Philip Jeffries was, and then that's where Philip Jeffries was.
Kind of?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, Doppelkoop goes there looking for Philip Jeffries. Then some weird stuff happens. I'm not even sure if that's the best way to describe it, but that's the best way I could describe it in my notes.
Yeah.
Like there were some flashing lights and stuff.
Yeah, you have Jeffries as a smoke machine.
Yeah, what would you call him? He was a machine that was producing smoke.
I feel like I saw like a reel-to-reel, like the old reel-to-reel tape. I feel like I saw that in there somewhere. It's just, yeah, the show is so weird and so good. And that and the other thing is that, so Philip Jeffries was originally played by David Bowie, but like the voice of this is very obviously not David Bowie.
Yeah, and they dubbed over him in the previous episode.
Right. So I think they were setting some of that up to be not David Bowie.
Yeah, I was hoping David Bowie would have made an appearance, but I guess it didn't work out.
So that's when Jeffries keeps, or not, Doppelkoop keeps asking Philip Jeffries about who is Judy, which I feel like I missed something. I missed the thread where the importance of Judy was explained, or who
wasn't Judy the one in the story from the last episode that she was there, and then there was the one that was bleeding and died and disappeared, so there was two of them?
Oh shoot, you're right. You may be right.
That was the first time Blue Rose was mentioned. The Blue Rose.
No,
right?
no, that was two Lois Stuffies.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then I don't know who Judy is. Maybe this might be the first time we're hearing Judy's name.
So that may be something that comes into play later, in a later episode.
And you know us, we are experts at names.
We have the best names.
We have all the names.
Yeah, I had actually read something that said that whatever Philip Jeffries is now is somehow connected to Sarah Palmer.
I won't be surprised if every aspect of the show is somehow connected to Sarah Palmer.
Because she's kind of fucked up right now.
Yeah. Like, I read one theory that Sarah Palmer is the girl from the 50s that the bug went into.
Oh, in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a point where it's like, yeah, everything makes sense and nothing makes sense. The Twin Peaks story.
Yes.
So, yeah, but as he's asking, quote-unquote, Philip Jeffries about who Judy is and who is Judy, the phone starts to ring, and then he gets...
Did he, teleports out of there?
Yeah, so he obviously folds space, so there's yet another connection to Dune.
Yes. But then when he teleports out, he is surprised, because there's a guy there with a gun.
And it's Dickhead McGee himself, in the flesh.
Yeah, what's his name?
Dick Horn.
Okay, yeah, and Audrey is there, or not there, but she is confirmed to be his mom. And then when Doppelkoop hears this, he disarms him and then kicks him a couple times and says, "Get in the truck, let's go."
I still think that Evil Coop is his dad.
I think you're right.
Otherwise, he would have just killed him.
That kid's too evil.
Insanely, oddly evil.
The evil for the sake of evil.
Yeah, normally evil has like an end purpose to it. I think this guy's just a dick to be a dick. That's the worst kind of dick.
Yep. So then there's like lights and smoke happening at the convenience store, and then it vanishes after they drove away. Okay, now can you explain the next scene to me?
So
that was confusing.
Yeah, so the next scene, the setup for the next scene is that Steven, who is Mr. Amanda Seyfried in this show, is out somewhere in the forest with Kirsten Hayward, who he's evidently been cheating on. Now I'm blanking on her character's name. But Amanda Seyfried's character.
Is that Judy?
No, I don't think so. All I know is that it's not Shelley, and it's okay. This is an instance where yes, we
know all the names.
We know all the names.
What were the best names?
But they're in the forest, and he's very distraught about things.
Yeah, he was just sitting there saying, "I did it."
Well, and that's not all he says. I actually turned on the closed captioning at a certain point because he talks about like near the end of his rant, he talks about how he enjoys Kirsten's genitalia
Right.
and being with her. Only he says it in a lot more crude fashion. And then at that point in time, like shortly thereafter, a guy walks up walking his dog and then kind of spooks him.
Yeah, and then she freaks out and runs.
But she runs to like the other side of the tree. And it's so
she didn't go far.
No, and it was just one of those things. It was like, was she spooked and she didn't want to be seen with him, so that somehow, like, it wouldn't get back to Amanda Seyfried's character that she's been out with him.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the only thing that I can think of as to why she would do that like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But then there was a gunshot after the guy with the dog walked away, right? Then you heard a gunshot?
Yeah.
I think implying that he killed himself?
Yes. I think that's...
And then it cuts to the guy in the trailer park. The guy with the dog in the trailer park.
Oh, yeah, talking to,
Harry Dean Stanton.
Harry Dean Stanton. See, I think this is interesting because I think normally actors have the opposite problem where people so closely associate them with characters that they sometimes get called the characters.
But Harry Dean Stanton's been in like 8,000 movies.
Yeah, he's 90 years old.
He's Harry Dean Stanton.
He's Harry Dean Stanton, for God's sake. Amanda Seyfried was Becky.
Okay. So then it cuts to the Roadhouse, and then they start playing "Sharp Dressed Man" by ZZ Top,
which is fine by me. I love that song. That's such a good song.
And then James shows up.
Because
James and Freddie. It was Freddie, right?
Yeah, I think so. I just call him the Snap. I call him the Snapped as Gregory guy.
Okay, that works. And then James says to, I forgot her name. Oddly enough, it's the first time this has ever happened. I forgot her name, but he says like, "Hi, nice to see you."
Yeah. Oh shoot. I know. Is it Renee?
Could be. And then her husband, sitting right next to her, freaks out. And then 3 guys get up and start beating up James, because James was always cool.
Yeah, obviously. So yeah, he starts getting the absolute snot kicked out of him. And Freddy's not having it.
No, he, with his rubber glove, punches each one of them once.
And like, there was part of me that was because of how he has how he's essentially Luke Cage with that one hand.
Or Iron Fist.
Rubber
Fist.
He not only can he seriously punch someone out, but he can prevent his hands and his fingertips from pruning when he does dishes.
It's the most important thing.
That is the most important superpower that I think has ever been. But anyway, I was kind of expecting like their faces to be caved in, but it looked like that they essentially just had.
They just got knocked silly. It looked like.
Yeah, but like a little bit more than you would be like not worried about, but less than something has happened to these guys, which is so like borderline comically violent.
Yeah, they were like seizing and foaming at the mouth almost,
and like their eyes were rolling back in their heads, and it was just
It
looked like it was a bad time.
Yep. Then from there it goes to Vegas FBI people.
Oh god.
And they have Douglas Jones, but Douglas Jones has kids, plural.
Plural, yeah. And Glenn Gullia is having none of it.
He is just not having it.
It's like the people that they have in that Las Vegas FBI division or field office. Just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you have here is people get shot, and I think that's where the hit guy, the guy who orders the hit.
Yeah. He gets shot. Jennifer Jason Leigh shows up and shoots him and his assistant. Her friend or whoever the other guy was just shoots him in the head and walks away. But then the friend was still alive, so she had to go back in and shoot him a couple more times. So that's mission 1 because they went there to kill him and then go get Dougie, right?
Yeah, I think the next move is Dougie. So yeah, it's Duncan Todd, played by Patrick Fischler, and then other dude who works in his office, basically.
Yep.
And then the wonderful police work continues in the next scene.
Yeah.
Where James and Freddy get arrested, which I understand that.
I mean, when there's a fight, you should arrest both sides.
And maybe the other guys will get arrested, or maybe they'll be under some
maybe
sort
they
of
were brought to the
supervision.
hospital.
But they're probably in the hospital.
But I don't know. It just seems like they shouldn't have been arrested. They were attacked. They didn't provoke anyone. They were just James specifically was attacking, and then Freddy was helping him because it was a 3 versus 1, and James was just on the ground getting beat up.
Yeah, it seems like at least self-defense.
Yeah,
especially on James's part.
Yeah, that just scene just bugged me that they got arrested for that. And James was always cool.
I mean, just always, even when he's singing, he is always cool.
So then, it was Tim Roth and Jennifer Jason Leigh eating burgers.
Yep, Hutch and Chantal. I
don't think anything really important happened in this scene. They were just having a conversation, eating burgers.
Yeah, I feel like I remember. Yeah, they were talking about like things that they liked on their burgers, and I was like, okay, I think the only thing that this highlights is just how run of this mill this whole situation is for them.
Yep, it's ordinary for them. And then we get the first real Dougie Jones scene in a few episodes, right?
It's been at least 1, I think maybe 2. Because I think in the last one, maybe the only thing that we really got was Dougie Jones getting hit by Sonny Jim when they were trying to play catch.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or that could have been... No, that may have been the previous one even.
Yeah. I mean, the last big one was the one where Tom Sizemore freaked out, right?
Yeah, I think that's been... Yeah, I think, and where he freaks out. Even that wasn't... Yeah, and then even that wasn't too much of one. And that was immediately after where he and the two brothers were with the pie, cherry pie. But anyway, so yeah, he has this cake and he eats it too.
And while he's eating the cake, he's pushing buttons. And what's his wife's name?
Janie.
Yeah, she says that they're getting everything that they always wanted.
Or all their dreams are coming true.
Yeah, something like that.
Which he's having none of, and
yeah, he turns on the TV and it starts playing an old movie, and it catches his eye.
Well, the one thing was that someone makes a reference to someone named Gordon Cole, and then that kind of clicks in his head, and then I think he starts to hear some static.
Yeah,
he focuses on the electrical outlet, goes over there and does what any rational 3-year-old would do.
He stuck a fork in there. Or yeah, it was a fork.
He tried. Well, yeah, that was what was great. Was he was like, I can't get these tines in here, so let me go ahead and turn this thing around and try it that way.
And he gets electrocuted pretty good. So is this going to be what brings him back? Or is he dead? Did we just see him die?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if he's dead, and now all that's left is Doppel Cooper.
That would be right up there.
All these episodes of Dougie Jones thinking is leading somewhere, and then he electrocutes himself with a fork in an electrical outlet.
That would be. I would actually appreciate that on a certain level, because that would be like the most David Lynch thing that can happen.
Yeah.
So
the next is Log Lady, and I tried to type out all her entire conversation. I did the best I could. If you want to read it,
sure. Yeah, I can definitely do that. I'm not gonna try any affected Log Lady voice because because of the content.
Right.
Hawk, I'm dying. You know about death, that it's just a change, not an end. Hawk, it's time. There's some fear in letting go. Remember what I told you. I can't say more over the phone, but you know what I need from our talks when we were able to speak face to face. Watch for that one, the one I told you about. The one under the moon on Blue Pine Mountain. Hawk, my log is turning gold. The wind is moaning. I'm dying. Good night, Hawk.
I think I got everything. I may have made a mistake somewhere in the middle, but I think I got it all.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much. And then after that, that's where Hawk says, like, good night, Margaret. And then after he hangs up, he says, goodbye, Margaret.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Sheriff Truman in the meeting conference room.
In the conference room, yeah.
And he has his laptop open. He's just looking at pictures of fish. Just one at a time. Pictures of fish. I noticed that. I don't know why that stuck out to me. But he's just looking at pictures of fish.
Because he's thinking he's had enough of this crap and he wants to go fishing.
Yeah, so then Hawk comes in and tells them that the log lady died.
Well, I think that
Andy was there too, right?
Andy was there, so was Lucy, and so was Bobby.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, all the main players from the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Not Chad.
No, Chad was still in the prison.
He's still in lockup,
being driven crazy by the lady
guy
with no eyes and the drooling guy.
Well, the blood spewing drooling guy.
Yeah.
And then we were treated to yet another wonderful scene with Audrey Horne.
Yeah, and it seems like no time has progressed again from the last time she had a scene.
This, as much as it is to have in this show that has these really weird, surreal scenes, these have been the most surreal, out of place scenes in the entire show.
I think it might just be a dream and she's still in a coma for the past 25 years.
So she can...
No, that couldn't because she has a kid.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, she could have...
No, she could have, yeah.
So if okay, so this is going to be a stretch. So to that I would say that if, Doppelkoop could have done something to her when she was in the hospital.
I believe that was a theory that was going around.
And since he's evil, I wouldn't put it past him. She didn't have to be all there.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there at this point.
Yeah, so they're going to the roadhouse. They're at the door. He has his coat on, and he's saying, "Put your coat on, Audrey."
And then she refuses to put her coat on.
Yeah, and starts arguing with him. He says, "Okay, if you keep arguing, I'm going to take my coat off, and then we're not going anywhere."
And then she keeps arguing.
So he takes his coat off, and then they don't go anywhere.
And then she goes nuts. Well, I don't want to say goes nuts, but she attacks him.
She gets on top of him and starts choking him?
Yeah, this...
And then in my notes, I just put Audrey might be crazy.
Yeah. Which was really weird. It's so odd.
It's the weirdest show. If there's an award for weirdest show, like this, there's no competition for Twin Peaks.
But that's the thing. It's like while it is weird, I feel like there are things about it that are not. I think some shows try to be weird for just the sake of being weird.
Yeah.
Where I think this is kind of one of those. This is weird, but it's.
I'm not convinced that it's not weird for the sake of being weird.
I don't know. I think there's too much that kind of circles back around.
Yeah, maybe. We're gonna just have to see how it pays off in the end.
I'm telling you what, I am fully anticipating and almost hoping for another cliffhanger.
I'm expecting the season finale to be the second episode of Mulholland Drive.
Everything. It's just going to be the dream sequence in the theater.
Yep.
and then followed up immediately by the guy going behind the dumpster. All the
And
best
then
parts of
cut
Mulholland Drive.
to Dennis Hopper saying Pabst Blue Ribbon. That's a Blue Velvet reference.
And then cut to a guy taking care of a baby. That's a Eraserhead reference.
Right.
Anyway, okay, so
it's
finish
back at
this
the
up.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, so Shirley
So-
Nee is sitting alone in the booth at the Roadhouse.
And she's waiting for someone.
I think that's what the implication there is, but she doesn't say anything.
Eventually, I think she does say, "I'm waiting for someone."
Okay,
Because two big guys go over and start staring at her, as if to say, "Hey, can we have the booth?"
But then
she says that she's waiting for someone, and then they pick her up and put her on the floor.
Because who needs permission?
Yeah.
So she crawls underneath. She crawls through the crowd and goes underneath a table.
And starts freaking out.
And scene.
And then the credits roll over the Philip Jeffries location, over the place above the convenience store.
Yeah, I don't know why I either didn't put that together or I wasn't paying that much attention to it. Like once I see starring Kyle MacLachlan,
you're out of there.
My brain's like, I can't take this anymore.
I have that same problem with Rick and Morty. When I'm watching and the credits roll, I'm like, oh, it's over, time to turn it off. And then a couple minutes later, I realize, no, wait, there's always a scene after the credits.
Yeah. So the one thing, and I think probably what it is that I'm so preoccupied with looking at the credits.
Right.
Just to see if I saw something or missed something. And then with this one in particular, I was trying to see if David Bowie was credited at all, and then also I wanted to check the in memory that they have at the end, which in this particular episode they had the in memory of Margaret Lanterman instead of the actress's name, but I think she had previously had an in memory of her actual name.
Right. I was looking. I didn't notice anything weird going on in the credits, but there could have been stuff that I just didn't see. But yeah, that was the episode. It was a good one.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. Looking forward to more. I'm looking forward to the show wrapping up.
Yeah, it's
kind of weird that there was like a stretch of like 5 episodes in the middle where like nothing happened, and now that it's to the end, there's a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah, and it just kind of makes you want to see the next episode because there is just so much that's kind of happening.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has to happen now. Because
I think we're down to three nights left, and then that last night is a double.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I'm interested.
Me too.
To see what's gonna happen.
Yep. All right, I think I'm gonna wrap up.
Yeah, a bit short and to the point, but
yeah, no Kevin this week.
Yeah,
he should be back next week.
Yeah, I think he was traveling for work, so
it could be Doppel Kevin though.
It could. You know what? Yeah, we'll need to see if he says anything backwards. See if he greets us properly.
Yes.
If you take my meaning.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you like us, like us on YouTube and rate us on iTunes and everything. And also listen to the Alltalk podcast where we talk about all the geek stuff and the Geek Box and Comic Conspiracy and Manga Machinations. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.